Good evening, everyone. It is The Way Wednesday. I'm, oh my gosh. Good evening, everyone. Now I see, I was watching the live. Okay. I'm Latasha Renee, and I'm so excited to be here with you all as we prepare something that's truly special. This month, we have the Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp. I think we teased it a little bit last month, but now is the time for us to get prepared for it. Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp is happening on March 16th in Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, we're diving into why this space is so important for women veterans, and we'll introduce the incredible venue that's hosting us, along with Vashti Dennis, who is one of our facilitators, and we're so happy to have her here. So, our incredible venue is the Wellness Spot ATL. If you're in Atlanta, I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't, we are happy to introduce it to you. This event is made possible by the generous support of WellStar Health Systems, whose commitment to community wellness helps us bring vital resources to women veterans. We are so grateful for their sponsorship. Before we dive into the conversation, we want to take a moment to reflect on this year's experience, on last year's experience. So here's a look at the 2024 Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp that we held in DC.
Really excited about the work that we're doing to build up future women leaders.
I can't tell you how amazing this space was curated for women veterans who are seeking to increase their resilience. We had an amazing time, not only increasing our own resilience through the theme of senses of touch, feel, taste, right, and smell, and it was just unbelievable.
Today, what I got out of it was the connection with all the other women veterans and just women in general, as well as being able to understand how we handle our emotions and the best way to do that.
What I experienced today was a safe space for women veterans to let their guard down and truly share what we go through on a daily basis, and be that voice for those that don't have a voice.
Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp is for all women veterans. This is a great place to come together, to build community, to network, to learn a few things about self-care and resilience, and to get to meet other amazing women veterans.
Resilience Bootcamp!
Awesome. It really warms my heart seeing last year's participants. Our DC boot camp was so impactful, and we're even more excited for the experience we can provide with the help of today's guest, Vashti from the Wellness Spot, who will be guiding us in some healing work. But first, before we get into any of that, we want to welcome Vashti to the stage. Hello.
Hi, Latasha. Hi, everyone.
Am I saying your name correctly? Please make sure I'm saying your name correctly.
Vashti, yep, you're perfect.
Yes. Awesome. So before we talk about the venue, I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself, what led you to do this work, and why it's so important to you.
Yeah. So this work, right? In ancient times, I love to preface it with in ancient times, right? The mind, the brain was not considered the center of intelligence. The heart and the gut, the stomach, were considered the center of intelligence. Your body knows what you need. But in today's time, right, we are so distracted by the stories that our mind tells us, by the stories that society tells us, by the stories our parents tell us, that we get so caught up in our mind that we are not present enough in our body. And our bodies can only tell us the truth. And so when I experience that, right, there's a thing where we cognitively learn something, and then there's a thing when we embody it. So for most of my teenage and adult life, I suffered with body dysmorphia to the point where I was like between a size 2 and a 4, and I would take a shower with the lights off because I just had this vision of myself and I spoke to myself in that mental state. And so I was going through a point in my life where I had to make some decisions. It was a, life change, and I had to make some decisions. And I realized that I had a very difficult time trusting myself and my ability to make decisions for myself. And around that time, I had started with a yoga practice. And so, one night, I was just like, oh, why am I having this problem? Make these decisions. And the next day I get on the yoga mat, stillness, right? Because we always say yoga practice, no matter how amazing and how many ways you can stand on your head, it's always a practice. So I'm on this mat in my yoga practice and I'm stilling my mind. I'm quieting my mind. It will never go completely silent. And I remember hearing, if you walked into a room and heard your friends saying the things about you that you say about yourself, would you trust them? If you walked into a room and you heard your best friend saying, oh, Vashti, she's fat. Oh, Vashti, she's not smart. Oh, Vashti doesn't make enough money. Would you trust them if you overheard them speaking to you this way? And I said, okay, no, I wouldn't. And whatever that voice internally was said, well, how can you possibly trust yourself? Because you're doing the same thing. And so that was my first, and I have a book that I've written. I've published some books, but I have a book that I've written and not yet published called Lessons from the Mat. And so literally probably every time you can quiet your mind enough to hear what your body is telling you, you will get a profound lesson about what's that moment. And I tell people all the time, praying is talking to God, meditating is listening. And so this work is so important because when you're able to listen, you can save your own life. When we understand what tension means, we can save our own lives. We can heal ourselves. And so from there, I just, I work in America, and you guys did the last boot camp in DC. That's my hometown, like close to my heart. And so once I realized how important this work was, I began to bring it into the corporate office. And, I began meditating daily. But what I found is that I had to go in the gym bathroom and sit on the gym bathroom floor to meditate. And so it was like, that's not allowing a person to bring their whole self to work. So I began working with DI officers to include these wellness practices and to allow safe space in the corporate office for us to be fully well. Yeah, so that's kind of the story. It gets way bigger and expansive from that, but that was the aware beginning of the journey. We're on the journey from being in the mother's womb, but the awareness of, hey, there's something to this and I need to be intentional about it.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. It's so powerful to have facilitators that not only have experience, but a deep understanding of why this work is so important. And just thank you. I was like, listening to you, I was like, wow, like you get it and you understand that you have to go where people are experiencing the need in order to fill the need. And so I think we're like really aligned on that. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. Can we take a few minutes to talk about the wellness spot itself, where the boot camp will take place? What makes this space unique, and why is this a perfect setting for our attendees?
Yeah. So again, thank you for allowing me to share and be seen. So the wellness spot. The wellness spot is so dear to my heart personally for the way I ended up there was just purely God, like magic. It was medicine. But I won't go into that. But the wellness spot, what makes us different is one, we are the South Side. And so you may not be familiar with Atlanta. I'm still learning it, but it is a community um, that I'm sorry. Oh, so we are on in College Park,
Mm-hmm.
a very whereas everything kind of moves to the parts of town where they've been gentrified. Our owner said, "No, I'm going to stay right here
Mm-hmm.
because we deserve to be well also." Right?
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing that makes us different. She could have gone anywhere, but we're right there in College Park, and we are, I believe, the only fitness studio as well as full day spa. And so, why that's important is because one part of the wellness is with the practitioner working on you, and the other part is you doing the work yourself. And so, that though both of those are so necessary for holistic wellness. Another thing that makes us different is every practitioner is a healer, from the nail therapist, and notice I don't say nail technician, the nail therapist who is knowledgeable in reflexology, to the massage therapist who understands sound healing and how to incorporate that into your session. We intentionally, we're very particular about who we're bringing in, the energy of our space. Literally, I have sound bowls that are in the garden. If anything feels off, I'm like, hey, let's all go outside, take off your shoes. We're going to ground. So making sure we are well is part of my duties, to make sure that when you walk in the space, you feel the healing. And I can tell you how many people have come into our space. They were just walking by and they were like, we heard about this place. And they come in and we take them on a tour, and they are near tears, or actually in tears by the end of it, because they know what they feel. And that is very intentional.
Awesome. See, now I'm even more excited for the 2025 Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp in Atlanta, Georgia on March 16th.
Me
So
too.
visit. I'm gonna give the plug right now to visit our website and sign up if you haven't. If you're a woman veteran, or if you know a woman veteran, please share it with them, because we all deserve this healing and this level um, of specificity, to have a space and an event that's curated specifically for us. Oh, so before we move any further, I want to bring on our executive director, who is Tracy Lloyd. Hi, Trey. How are you doing?
Hello. I am well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I hear the life in your background, and I really appreciate that you're taking the time to speak with us while, you're also taking care of yourself and your family.
Absolutely. I'm at basketball practice, so please excuse the screeching sneakers and all the
That
noises.
like that those are signs of life. Like that's what I've learned, really, in those moments, like when you want it to be like perfectly quiet and perfectly still. I've gone to the all of that. We think of it as a distraction, but it's really signs of life. Like you're living and you're taking care of,
Mm,
and we have that proof in the background.
I love
So
that reframe, Tasha.
there we go. So we wanted to bring you on because for the viewers that want to know more about what is Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp, why was this created and why is it important? Can you give us some framework about that?
Absolutely, Tasha. So, when we look at the statistics, right, it almost beckons for more people to jump in to solve the ails that are concerning our women's veterans. For instance, when you look at the suicide rate, between 2020 and 2021 is the last time they've done a study. It was a 24.1% increase in suicides for women veterans. When you look at the homelessness, right, the fastest growing segment of homelessness are not the male veterans, it's the women veterans. And actually, as our number continues to increase, the male number is decreasing in terms of homelessness. Also, when you look at PTSD, we're twice as likely to have it than our male counterparts. And 1 in 3 women who have served have experienced military sexual trauma. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this space. And we are so fortunate that we are positioned to answer the call and to do our part in helping our sisters in arms.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for sharing and for your continued leadership in supporting veterans. Vashti, can you tell us from your experience working with people how having access to these tools and these healing modalities can help improve folks' quality of life?
Yeah. Whew. So, of course, there are so many modalities, right? And you guys are going to experience a few that we use. But I like to think of even just some, simple as breath work, right? How many situations could have been diverted by us taking 3 breaths before reacting and understanding when we're reacting, where we're reacting from? And of course, speaking about PTSD, our body holds a lot of memory. And sometimes memory that our mind will block out, but our body holds it. And so, oftentimes in the healing world, we use the term disease, right? As energy that's being held in the body that has no place to go. Hey, baby. See the baby over there. So working with using the breath to regulate blood pressure, to the point we make it a game in our house. Like, we'll check our blood pressure and then see who can meditate and can get theirs lower. Yeah, it's absolutely, not saying that there are no outlying conditions, but you have the ability to regulate so many of your body's functions through your breath. Understanding the power of sound healing. So, if one wanted to look up cymatics, CYMATICS, it is the study of how vibration affects matter. And so what happens is the higher the vibrational frequencies of sound, the more coherent the body's energy is. And so you can see this, they use sand or water, and the higher the frequency, you can see the intricate geometric shapes that the water, the sand, the blood, the water in your body, because we are 70 to 82% water, how that frequency affects your body for healing frequencies. So, I mean, I can answer even more, but those are some of the technologies, because they're technology actually, that we'll be using on the 16th at the boot camp. Sound has been proven to, surgeries have gone better with patients that use certain sound frequencies before surgery, because again, their energy fields are coherent and less, fighting against one another as far as cellular and molecular structures. So, yeah. But, as far as working with people with PTSD, I remember when I first got into this work, I was working in a very masculine arena. And I remember touching a colleague, and I don't think she knew it was me, but the way she recoiled, I remember saying, something's happened here. She hasn't released it. And so her body's holding on to it and reliving that story every day. And we began to work with one another to release that story. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And like as soon as you said that, when you said like the body remembers, I thought of the book The Body Keeps the Score. That was the first book that I read that let me know that I wasn't going crazy, because there were so many symptoms that was in my body, and I was going to so many doctors trying to figure out what was going on with me, and they're like, well, there's nothing going on with you. And eventually it was like, hey, you might have PTSD. You probably need to go see somebody
Mhm.
about this to start working through this. And even in that work, part of it is the meditation, part of it is the um, coming back into your body and kind of understanding why being in a certain environment triggers. You know what they say, why is this environment a trigger, why is this time of year
Mhm.
a trigger, and then understanding, okay, this is a trigger, but what does that mean, what does that feel like in my body when this happens? Because it's not, like there's nothing about a grocery store that's threatening, but there's something that's happening in my body when I go into a grocery store that I have to tap into. So these are all like languages and conversations and things that, once you're in the healing, on the healing path and the healing journey, it will not be unfamiliar to you. But if this language and the conversation is unfamiliar with for you, we, invite you to come to the community and just be in the presence of healers and sisters who've also been where you are. And even, the ones who are like healed, they're at a place where they're like, you know what, my life is really good, but I am learning how to maintain it so that I don't slip back. Like that's what the community is all about. Like instead of starting from zero, you get to start from people that understand you. At least we understand what you're going through and you don't have to explain that to us. And then we can move on to what are the tools that, because that's really what this is about, is like, what are the tools that you can take that can help you live the best life possible? Really, that's really what we
Yeah.
want. Um, so, that's, it's one thing to talk about it, but I think it's another thing to kind of actually experience it. And since you're here, Vashti, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least get a little taste of maybe a 2 to 3 minute guided exercise if you're amenable to that.
Absolutely. First, can I just say, I got chills when you were speaking.
Mm.
So, we're the facilitator, but you are doing this work. And when I first really learned about my triggers, it was in the grocery store. So the fact that you brought a man skipped me in the grocery store and I just kind of went off and I was just like, wait a minute, what is that about? So yeah, so thank you for that. But yes, absolutely. We could definitely do a little breath work, a little uh, guided meditation, whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I will start the music. I think this is about 2 minutes, and I'll let you
Yeah.
know.
So we use music a lot of times, again, because remembering that frequency. Um, And I don't know, maybe we don't use the music right at this second, Latasha,
Okay. Yeah.
just
Just
so
let me know.
yeah, so we can kind of explain, give a background.
Mhm.
So what we're going to do is two different breathing exercises. One that's going to first get us fully um, into our body and out of the brain center. Then the second will be a relaxing breath work. And then once we're settled, we can turn on the music and do a guided meditation. So, what I first want us all to do is find ourselves in a comfortable position, preferably for the first part of the breath work, I would say upright. If you would like to lie down on the second part, that's up to you. I definitely like for you to have options and for you to listen to your body. I am absolutely just a guide. Your body is your intuition, and your intuition is intelligent and it is real. So if something does not feel in alignment, then I would suggest you find another way to do it. So let's first start. We're going to do 4-part breaths. And so we're going to inhale through our nose for a count of 4. And then what we're going to do is hold it at the top for a count of 4, maybe 5 or 6. And then we'll release it for a count of 4. Hold it at the bottom for a count of 4. And so that is the space, that is the rhythm of the breath. Generally, I love doing it with you, but just so that you know when to let go and when to take in more, I won't do it with you. And just also want to remind you that the breath is your first lesson on this side of the whatever the plane, this side of life. Your breath, we inhale, we take in what we need, oxygen, and then we alchemize it. It turns into carbon dioxide, and you can no longer hold that in your body. Your body does not benefit from holding on to carbon dioxide. You have to release it. And so you release it back into the world, and the trees take it and alchemize it. So the breath work is the first lesson in learning to take in what you need and release anything that does not serve you. So let's begin by inhaling for a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. Slowly exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. Release, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Take in a little bit more. Inhale a little bit more. Hold it. 3, 4. And slowly release. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so hopefully this is when you're focused on that inhale, releasing slowly, not panicking and taking it back in. It gets you out of your head and focused on your breath. So now what we're going to do is just take some relaxing breaths. So if it feels good to close your eyes, please do. I would love for you to place one hand over the heart, the other hand over the belly, because oftentimes we aren't taught how to properly breathe. And so this is called the 3-part breath. On the first part of the inhale, I want you to feel your belly expand, get big. On the second part of the inhale, I want you to feel your rib cage expand, get big. On the third part, you're going to feel your heart, your lung space expand and get big. And then on your exhale, you release from the heart and lung space, then the rib cage, and then the belly. And this is your breath. allowing yourself to fully expand and take in what you need, not rushing and being in this present moment. And as we do this, I want you to feel the tension release from your forehead, allowing it to melt down your temples, allowing it to melt down your jawline, maybe allowing your mouth to just hang open just a little bit, releasing your tongue from the roof of your mouth. That is you holding on to tension. Tension is our body's way of telling us it doesn't trust what's next. And so we fight it. We don't surrender because we don't trust. So allow that tongue to release from the roof of your mouth, allowing that tension to go down your chin, allowing the shoulders to just melt away from your ears. And Latasha, if you want to play some music in this moment. Continuing with that 3-part breath. Understanding that your breath is what connects your body, your life force, your prana to this world. Anytime you feel a body part, maybe a little pain, it's asking for you to send your prana, your life force to it. Allow that heart space to fill up. Allowing yourself to take up space. Not apologizing for taking up space because you were created as matter taking up space. It's intentional. You deserve to be present and to be well. Again, just feeling your shoulders just get further away from your ears, allowing yourself to surrender to just this present moment. This moment is the only real moment. Collectively, we're going to take one more inhale together. Let's inhale, belly, heart space, fill up, fill up, fill up. And collectively, let it go with a verbal sigh. There you go.
Whew. Feels like a restart, a recharge. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I had to get back. I was like, okay, I have to talk. I have to talk because I was so relaxed. Oh, I have to do one more breath. Hold on.
Yes.
Okay, I needed to give myself a recharge because I'm used to, at the end of that, I'm like, okay, I'm completely relaxed and I'm ready to start winding down for the day. But I have a little bit more to go.
Got a little bit
But
of
I
work
want
to
to
do.
just, yeah, I just want to thank you so much because it just, in that short period of time, I hope everybody could feel what I felt, which was just like a real release and a reset. And sometimes, really, that's all you need in a day is when you're overwhelmed, is to be able to take that 5 minutes and just reset, to give yourself the strength, what you said, the life force to continue on with the work that you have to do. So for those who experience this and were just thinking like this is exactly what I need, how can I be a part of this? Can you go ahead again and tell us where the wellness spot is located and how we can contact you?
Yep. And I am just a little piece of what you're going to have from the wellness spot. We have an amazing massage therapist who's going to teach you about self massage and do a workshop for you. We have the most amazing sound healer. And so it's going to be a day plus all of the programming that you all are providing. So the wellness spot is so easy to get to. It is in historic College Park. So we are 3397 Main Street. And it's and I get lost in Atlanta all the time, but it's very easy to get to. So I'm just looking forward to this like no other event. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm so glad that you talked about what else is offered because for me I was like, oh, the breath work, that's great. But that's not all that we're doing today. We're on March 16th. We're also doing it's called Becoming. Um and so we are used to doing vision boards and we say, hey, this is what I would like for my life to be, but what we're also doing is helping you with the work, with the path of how do I get to, how am I becoming who I want to be. And so that's what we're adding into it. So you'll have that instruction, you'll have all of the amazing tools from the wellness spot, and all of this is in such a loving environment of people who share your experience. And so this is I get excited every time we do this, but it's such a good tool to help us take charge of our lives and heal us in a gentle way. I feel like it doesn't all have to be you know from 0 to 100. It's how to be gentle with yourself and give yourself the tools you need in order to be better and be who you want to be and live the life that you want to live. Okay, so I'm not going to get too much into it. I get so excited. Okay, registration is now open. It's at emily'sway.org. There will be a pop up. We made it super easy, so you can just go to the pop up and sign up. But if you want to type it all the way in, it's emily'sway.org/2025 ATL Bootcamp to sign up. And we also need the community support to make this happen. So if you are like, hey, this isn't for me, or I'm not in the area but you'd like to sponsor a veteran, you can make a donation at emily'sway.org and just make a note that this is to sponsor cover a veteran's cost. The cost is $25, and that includes everything that we talked about today and your lunch. And you'll get a goodie bag to go with, so you have a backpack and all notebooks and all kinds of good stuff that goes with that. And we're able to provide that for such a low cost because of community sponsors like Wellstar, and partners like the Wellness Spot that offered their spot for a reasonable price, that our nonprofit can afford to bring this needed um, resource to our community. You see me like breathing again because I get so excited when I'm talking about this. Um, so anyway, like, just make sure, and also make sure you're following us on socials. If you're seeing this, you've clearly on our YouTube or our LinkedIn or our Facebook or our Instagram. Um, Feel free to share the video, share about the Wellness Spot and all of the resources that are available, because it really is a community effort for our wellness and our healing. So Vashti, I will give you an opportunity to give us any closing thoughts that you have before we close out.
Yeah, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Compassion and grace for yourself. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Vashti. And thank you, Tracy, for taking time out. And please give a hug to the babies. We love people who are living life and also making time for your community. We're whole people around here. This is all a volunteer effort at the Emily J.T. Perez Foundation. So we love you guys. And before we close out, I'm going to remind you that the Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp is on March 16th in Atlanta, Georgia at the Wellness Spot ATL. If you need more information, visit us at emily'sway.org/2025 ATL Bootcamp. You can sign up, you can register. If you want to just donate, you can go to emily'sway.org/donate and make a contribution there. And you can also share this video with anyone in your network that you know will really benefit from a healing environment, um, in a compassionate healing environment among people who really understand the experience of women veterans. We are here to help ourselves. And this is going to be such an amazing experience. I get so excited all over again every time I talk about it. Before we go, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to Wellstar Health Systems for sponsoring this event. Their dedication to community wellness is helping us make a real difference in the lives of women veterans. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. We hope to see you at Emily's Way Resilience Bootcamp next month. Until our next Way Wednesday, which is the fourth Wednesday of March. Until then, please take care of yourselves and remember, you are seen, you are valued, and you are never alone.